because he always was going to be active and defending.
I think if he, like,
I will shut my mouth until the window is closed and give Berta, Arteta, and everybody every possibility to get the players that we believe we can do. You need to retain our Premier League trophy. It's one thing winning it. It's one thing getting to the mountaintop. It's another thing retaining it. Personally, though, in terms of protecting my feelings, obviously we know Morgan Rogers, we dilly-dally. Chelsea have got involved, put money on the table. That's their player. Seems like radio silence with Bruno Guimaraes. And I'm just going to say this, I'm greedy. I would love all these players. I know you can't get them all, but, Ellie Krupi Jr., Julian Alvarez, Morgan Rogers, Bradley Bacola, Bruno Guimaraes, all of these like quote-unquote household names, I'll believe it when I see it. When they're holding shirts, that's another thing. To the point where you can miss out on Alvarez, you can miss out on Rogers, you can miss out on Guimaraes, all of these kind of things. But if you, don't think about the names, think about the profiles. Make sure you bring in these profiles come the end of the summer transfer window. But where the household names are concerned, till people are doing medicals, fees are agreed, I haven't got any more. To the point where, of course, I would love these players. These household names, it gasses us as fans. Obviously, we want the right players. For peace of mind, go find the unknown players. Go find Morgan Rogers before he ends up at Aston Villa. Go find Adam Wharton before he ends up at Crystal Palace, or Krupi at Bournemouth, or Mo Salah before he goes to Liverpool off the back of an ill spell at Chelsea, or Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan before they become emerging talents, or Rodri when he's at Villarreal, or Fabio Ruiz, and all of. I'd rather us do the scouting thing. I might not get excited about them on the point of entry, but who cares where you start? It's where you end. So, footballers are footballers, innit? That's my 2 pence. But we've been linked with John Stones. We've got a bunch of things to consider and cover, people. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Let me share my screen with you lot. Smash the like button, subscribe, get the creative juices flowing. Now, if you've been under a rock over the weekend, not reading this again, Chelsea have reached a verbal agreement for the £117 million transfer of Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa to Chelsea. Aston Villa and Middlesbrough, they've made, they've got some money. Chelsea have a great player that can develop with what they're doing. We're missing out on what we're told is our alleged first choice target, but neither here nor there. And this article did say, this came out, I believe, on a Saturday. It said on a Monday he'll have his medical. It's obviously Monday right now. What Chelsea do with Morgan Rogers is their business. Forget all of that, people. And I really don't much care to go over Morgan Rogers again, because I think I have. But, I've got to put my own personal feelings to the side and do this thing for the viewers. Romano on the Morgan Rogers stuff said, Mikel Arteta had direct conversations with Morgan Rogers over recent months. Arsenal were waiting. Maybe that's our problem, because there was hope to negotiate on a price with Aston Villa. Arsenal were never going to put 117 million on the table. I mean, there's incidences where the haggling thing works. If Rogers made clear only want Arsenal, then that works. Otherwise, it goes left, like with Monga and like with Morgan Rogers. How do we know? We don't know if Rogers was on signing for Chelsea and Arsenal. He just wanted to leave Aston Villa. He would, there's a reality he would rather stay at Aston Villa, or Arsenal was the only one. Clearly, they sat there. He was on Arsenal. Chelsea are a good project. Whatever people say, they're a good club and whatnot. He's on leaving either way. Chelsea putting the table, money on the table. They're happy to pay. Aston Villa are happy to sell. Life moves on. We're still wondering where the signings are beyond Millier coming on a free transfer. Hincapié confirmed as a permanent transfer. And I'm going to give him a chance, really. But Club Brugge, Zolis. So, yeah, we knew he wasn't going to 117 mil. After more checks, I can guarantee Arsenal's intention was to bid for around 90 million, maybe maximum 100 million, but no more than this. Chelsea decided to go all in and close the story. The only way to make it happen and avoid an Arsenal counter hijack as they did. So we'll leave it at that. It's frozen. Now, everybody's adding their 2 pence, but Arsenal were haggling over Morgan Rogers' price and acted a bit unreasonably in negotiations. That's when Chelsea stepped in directly and agreed to pay the amount demanded by Aston Villa. Moving away from that, if it feels like loading, why are you doing me dirty? No clue where that is. Arsenal were hit by a big surprise when Chelsea hijacked their deal for Morgan Rogers. Why? Because granted, in the last few months, it's been Morgan Rogers, Arsenal. Prior, Chelsea were the ones saying they're really on Morgan Rogers. Did they not try and buy him last summer? So you had to have known this. If David Ornstein's reporting it to us armchair experts on the Saturday, that means there was rumblings at some point prior. Maybe on the Saturday, it took them by surprise. Maybe on the Thursday, Friday, and you get where I'm going. So I wouldn't say that should be a surprise. David Ornstein said Arsenal didn't panic when they found out about Morgan Rogers going to Chelsea. It's all conflicting where it's regarded. Big up Mikel Merino, David Raya, and obviously Martin Zubamendi and the whole of the Spanish team. Obviously, we're just going to have to move on and find other targets, people, when this loads. It's one thing talking about Rogers, another one bites the dust. I mean, if you didn't want to pay 117 million quid, rightly or wrongly, for Morgan Rogers, and Morgan Rogers apparently was your top target, Bradley Bacola is also decent. But by that logic, could you interpret that, people, as you don't want to pay 100 plus or the similar fee for Bacola, in which there's no point really talking about this? But Ben Jacobs has said Arsenal have other attacking targets, including Julian Alvarez, Junior Kruipke, while there's appreciation for Bradley Bacola, who's also a target of Liverpool. Bring me Nico Williams and obviously Ellie Junior Kruipke. I'm involved. John Stones has been linked with Arsenal. Now, maybe there's elements of truth. He is a free transfer, obviously owing to what we're seeing around Saliba, and make sure you stick around. There's some other injury stuff. It adds fuel to the fire. For what it's worth, in terms of the modern day centre back, you know, what he can play, what he's done at City, experience, a short term kind of deal for the 32-year-old, all of that, and how much I rate John Stones, one of the best defenders England has produced in a hot minute. I'm for it. But when I look at, that's my illusion, and that's what I believe about John Stones. When you look at the amount of games and starts he's made in the last few years, add Arsenal injury tax, the only partnerships he's going to form is with Saliba on the injury table. I don't really think it makes sense. Of course, if he signs for us and he can stay fit and tie us over, then it's great. But he's had a lot of injuries. You see rumors around Saliba. Some are saying he's not out now. You know, I'm a bit more optimistic. But the initial rumors was worst case scenario, 5 months or the end of the year. Best case, 3 months. Can we really trust John Stones when it's in the thick of it? 3 games in 10 days. And yes, he's not alone. There's a bunch of options. Can we really trust him not to get injured? I don't know, people. But apparently Arsenal are now among a host of clubs exploring a move for John Stones. 32 Team Talk understands. Sources understand his performances at the World Cup have convinced several of Europe's biggest clubs that he can still perform at the highest level. Now, I don't doubt staying in the Premier League, staying in England. Obviously, he's been a direct rival with Arsenal, as City and Arsenal have fought for the Premier League in a few years, where we finally got one over the line. I have no doubt, and he knows Arteta and bunch of England boys. There's attractions to want to sign for Arsenal, but obviously, he spent a large period of his life at Barnsley. He's gone Everton. He's been at City. At 32, being a free agent, a football career is short. I just think if I was him, and I just feel for him, and granted, I don't know John Stones from nowhere. Does he try the abroad thing? Bearing in mind, in the modern day, you're seeing a lot of English players, and really the household name English players like Gordon and internationals, full internationals, they're the last ones. It's not as uncommon for us to see a 15, 16-year-old at one of the top 6 clubs reject a scholarship, go over to Germany. So more and more foreign players are going. And then when you look in that England squad, Ivan Toney's gone Middle East. Jude Bellingham is obviously over there at Real Madrid. Gordon's gone to Barcelona. Rashford just completed a loan spell at Barcelona. There might be some other examples that I'm missing out. But, he must have, when they're talking and stuff, they must have been speaking about what it's like being a foreign person in England, a foreign footballer in another country, and all of them things you could learn and experience as a human, let alone footballer. It's a big opportunity to go and do that, if I'm brutally honest, people. But yeah, if we could get John Stones, I wouldn't be against it, people. So yeah, we're considering John Stones as a short-term free transfer if William Saliba's injury proves to be serious. Stones and his reps will weigh up his options now, with interest in him understood to be in England and abroad. Everyone will be interested in John Stones. It's just the injury stuff. Obviously, after England beat France, you would have seen Bradley Bacola and Saka. Maybe Saka's doing his scouting thing, pouring cold water on that. My understanding in Bradley Bacola is that so far, Arsenal have not made any checks over recent days. At the moment, the conversation between Bacola and Arsenal is still cold. Liverpool remain very attentive to the situation. I think Kamara stays at Newcastle. It doesn't sign here. I don't think we get Bacola. Just make sure you get those profiles in it, people. Zolis will be in London to finalize his move to Arsenal tomorrow. If everything goes to plan, he will be announced on Wednesday, folks. Sam Wallace of The Telegraph said Arsenal are making a major push to sign Bruno Gomares. Now, for me, I don't doubt that, but I can understand fans that no one don't care about no pushes. That you should be doing that anyways. We want players signed, and this is why we're pessimistic on signing Premier League household names, because yes, I know they're not all the same caliber, but we did get Rice, we did get Trossard, we have got Kai, we have got Noni from Chelsea. It's not the same caliber, but for every Declan Rice, there has been the Douglas Luiz pursuit, the Caicedo pursuit, the Gomares pursuit, ultimately the Morgan Rogers pursuit. Do we pivot towards a Morgan Gibbs White, which would be equally as testing getting him from Nottingham Forest? So push. But I would say for Arsenal fans like myself that are giving you everything to go and do this thing, we're giving you the luxury until the window's closed because that's when you can't do anything. It don't send, and again, we don't know everything that's happening in the back burners, but to us as fans, we've just won a Premier League title. Not that we're watching other people, but other people are making movements. You told us, Rogers, well, we were briefed by the journalist that Rogers' personal terms not an issue. He wants signed for Arsenal. We want him, this, that, and the third. It don't fill you with any optimism ultimately to fall up empty-handed. Of course, there's a section of our fan base that are mad irrational. Of course, there's a section of our fan base that will make out everything's rosy. So I speak for the middle ground and that we're giving you time, but something needs to give, man, because we finally got everybody's on song and everybody feels the same way about the players, about the coaching staff, about the recruitment staff and the owners. So, yeah, I mean, I don't believe the Diomande stuff because Leipzig are playing hardball with PSG and Liverpool. So I think it's the natural name for us to be linked with because obviously Bukola is looking shaky. Rogers, who we're looking at as a winger, is looking shaky. Romano has said, keep a close eye on the situation of Yan Diomande. PSG have a verbal agreement on contract terms, but do not have an agreement with Leipzig. I'm told there are more clubs who keep calling on a daily basis to understand if they can enter the deal. Arsenal did this over the recent days. There are more clubs calling behind the scenes now. It's on PSG to close this story. Arsenal had agreement close with Rodgers on personal terms, but they waited and another team arrived. With Diomande, it's been 3 or 4 weeks since the agreement on personal terms, but then you have to close the deal club to club, and that's the only thing that matters, essentially. Andrea Berta likes to spin multiple deals to the point of near fruition, and they finally bid. Arsenal took weeks to get to the point of a bid for Rodgers. Chelsea were more decisive. We want you, we'll pay what it takes. Player likes that clarity. Arsenal haggled over Jeremy Monga, that opened the door to join City. Enzo Maresca knew the player. He called the player. Man City paid what it takes. It was only 3-4 million difference. Arsenal missed out on Monga as well. So again, clearly, Berta's deals work, like how he goes about things works. But this season, or so far in the transfer market season, egg on our faces and frustration within the fan base. Julian Alvarez, I was more optimistic on Morgan Rodgers, still pessimistic, very pessimistic, but would love it for Bruno Guimaraes. I'd like Julian Alvarez. I don't really give time to this, but Zolis has already arrived, but Arsenal are looking for a starting left winger and potentially, in addition, a more versatile box office 9. I think both of those are high priority. We need to keep an eye on Julian Alvarez's situation. Arsenal alert to that opportunity, but it's a difficult deal. Krupi is on the list. There's an appreciation for Bradley Bukola. So, yeah, it's all great, man. We're getting recycled the same things. Now, centre-halves, we've been linked with Lacole. I can never pronounce his name. Forgive me, Crystal Palace fans and the individual. Apparently, we've made an inquiry. The starting valuation from Crystal Palace is 55 million, rightly so, for someone that's a key member of their side and in the French setup. Declan Rice has spoken about needing injections to numb nerve pain during the season and has not been fully fit during the World Cup. Despite committing to playing games, the consensus is that he needs a full rest. Saka has nursed an Achilles problem throughout the World Cup, but Arsenal are hopeful that, like Rice, Saka will simply recover with rest. Ben White is expected to be back in Arsenal's pre-season training, having recovered from a significant knee injury. He's understood to have made good progress. Jurien Timber is another whom the club hope can play some role in pre-season. Boy, it's looking scary. There are always worries about the durability of the knees of Gabriel Magalhaes, like Kai Havertz. The one consolation is that Magalhaes, as well as Martinelli, did not progress as far in the World Cup, in which obviously they would have loved to. And you know what? It's disappointing for England, but Arsenal players were involved in 5 of England's 6 goals as they beat France 6-4 in the 2026 World Cup third place playoff. Declan Rice obviously got a goal and assist, played 90 minutes. Why did he come off against Argentina? Eze got an assist in his 79 minutes. Big him up for that. Bukayo Saka got 3 goals, obviously did his thing, which you wonder, why didn't he play a part for Argentina in his whole totality, people, which is jarring. And again, people, anyone, I can't say this guy's name here, but anyone on taking a chance on the 22-year-old Norwegian lad, Andreas, let's just call him Andreas S. I cannot say his name, but we've seen him obviously play well. And I can't lie, man, I'm getting back into that bag of Nico Williams. All's forgiven, man. Bring Nico Williams to the carpet. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything.